Hi, I'm Hubert Centers. Welcome to Absolute Wealth's weekly edition of Centers Strategies. Let's take a look at this week's strategy.
In this week's strategy, let's take a look at crude oil. Now, crude oil is a very good instrument to trade, especially with everything that's going on in the geopolitical situation. There are some common sense things that you need to know about crude oil. For number one, it has support at $75 and it tends to have resistance around $100. And you're going to use that information to actually trade it in order to make yourself a little bit more profitable. And what you'll notice is when it gets around $75, the news organizations will talk about crude like the sky is falling and it's going to go to 50, but it usually bounces out of there. You will also notice when crude gets up to about $100 that the news organizations will talk about crude going to 150, all right? And it usually doesn't work like that. It usually is a really good place to fade those. So right now I'm looking at a weekly chart of crude oil. So this is WTI, West Texas Intermediate. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a horizontal line. You can see there's 75. You can see a line at 75. Then we're going to go new parallel line, and we're going to say, okay, here's 100. Right there is 100. So now you can see, as I start to draw on the chart here, you can see support, support. Also here is support. Now you've got resistance, 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 resistance. And then it did get up above this one, and it went for a while, but then it came back, and then that resistance, but then came support, which was then broken again. So you got resistance again, resistance, and resistance. So what you're going to take a look at is $75 to $100. At $75, you're going to buy it, and at $100, you're going to sell it. So right now, we have that individual trade setup happening this past week. So as everybody else was talking about, oh my goodness, gold or crude is going to go through 150. When it hit 101 to 102, my thought was, oh, it's a great short. So let's take a look at that. We're going to move on to the daily chart, and now we're on a daily chart, and you can see, all right, so it's still a decent trade setup, even though you may be coming to it a little bit later in the trade. So you can see it hit a high of around 103, good entry, 102, and if you got just a terrible entry, let's just say 100 even. All right, so it's going to continue to the downside. Where's it going to go, and what can the stop be? Well, what you want to do is you want to use a stop of 2 times an ATR, or an average true range, or you use a 2% stop and a 5% target. Now, if you don't want to do any of that, I'm going to make it a lot easier for you. All you're going to do is you're going to use a stop slightly above this most recent high, and you're going to use a target from this low swing to that high swing, and you're going to look for a target of 89.36, so just call it $90, all the way down to 86.05. So from 85 to 90 is your target, with your short stop around 104, and that is this week's trade in the crude market. Now, you may not like to short things, so I'm going to give you one more trade for this week, and this trade is going to be long the 30-year bond. All right? The 30-year bond, as I'm doing this video right now, the markets are down 300 points, and everything is getting annihilated. Gold is down. What is gold down? Let's take a look at gold. Everything's getting kind of hurt. Gold's down 43. The S&P is down. Let's take a look at the S&P. S&P is down 24. The Dow is down 263 points, 4 points. So the only thing that looks decent on a long basis, everything right now is a risk trade. They're dumping everything. And my sources on trading desks and hedge funds, they're dumping everything. They're going to cash, and they're waiting to see what's going to happen. So not only are retail traders fearful, but so are professional traders. The only thing that looks decent on the long side would be bonds, and here's that trade. Let's zoom in here. The trade would be a long at 143 and 18/30 seconds, a stop around 141 and 26/30 seconds. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a Fibonacci extension, and we're going to see where the actual target will be going off at as soon as I find my tool that I need on my drawing. Here we go. All right, so we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. So the next target would be 144 and 28/30 seconds to 147 and 27/30 seconds. Good luck. Hope it helps. I'll see you next week.